Hello friends, this is Biman Gandhi and I welcome you to Business Wise channel. It is our constant endeavor at Business Wise to provide you a learning resource that can take you to a next level, regardless of whether you are a top executive, professional, a business owner, entrepreneur, or a decision maker. Normally, our learning resources are in the format of extract from our live webinars or in-person training. But today we are experimenting with a new format, and that new format is in the form of a talk show. Show is going to focus on one of the most spoken topic in an organization. This is our first attempt to bring you a program on leadership. More than leadership, I think today's world need leader shift, that is moving from leadership to leadership. And I'm very fortunate to have a guest called Mr. Jaitirth Kulkarni, who is one of the business leaders in Fortune 100 multinational companies. He's not only a great leader, he is a great friend. I know him for many years, nearly 2 decades now. So I have had that fortune, and I thought, let me bring him on this program. It's going to be more of a discussion, more of a talk show rather than interview. So I would like to discuss few topics or few issues related to leadership. So let's get started. Jaitirth, welcome.
Thank you very much, Viman. The subject that you are touching, leadership, I specifically like that particular word, wherein we are moving from talking about leadership to leadership. It's true because in today's environment, people are, put up with new challenges, wherein their leadership traits, the leadership skills need to change based on the situations they are in. So leadership, I think, is a very appropriate subject that you're talking about.
Okay. So my first question is basically, did leadership happen to you? I mean, the way it came to you and you just took life as it comes, or you consciously, carefully planned for it, or you carved out a way for you?
Well, if you really look at it, if your performance as a leader and if you as a leader need to perform and deliver what is expected out of a leader, I would rather say it's more of preparation for that particular role. It's not like I don't say that leadership happens to people. It does happen in situations, but the output of that particular person who becomes a leader by sheer dint of becoming that person, where because there is nobody else to take the role, etc., the outcome is much more lesser in impact than the person who prepares for it, because it's like being aware.
Okay.
It's like being aware. I would rather say that we have to prepare for that role. And in my case, I would say prepared for that. It took a lot of time to understand the nuances to reach there. I still believe, it's my personal belief, that if you prepare for that, the output that you deliver as a leader, the impact you bring to the table as a leader is much more different and impactful rather than being an impromptu leader.
So in a way, are you trying to say that because you prepared and you took some conscious steps or actions to make it happen, for others, it looks like it happened to you. But I think internally you know that yes, you did take an effort.
Absolutely. How it feels to others is one aspect of it, right? Just to quote as an example, Rajiv Gandhi, I would say, sorry,
Okay,
became his father became the prime minister of the country. But was it a prepared? They tried to prepare him to that role, but I don't think the time was sufficient enough for him to take into it. And he was like, sometimes he called it as a,
Like it was available to her mother.
it was available to her
His mother.
Yeah, his mother, and he just so it takes time to grapple with that situation and how you come out of it. Some of the decisions which were taken do displace that, and some of the decisions which he took as somebody who knew about the subject is different. Like whether it's say computers in India, the advisors which inducted him to take those decisions, that really helped for the country. But some of the other decisions which was not prepared in a way, that also tells the kind of immaturity in taking those decisions.
Right.
So you have to really groom into that role, right? So whether it is obvious to others or not is different, but you as an individual has to really prepare for it.
So when it comes for people to take a judgment or to measure, the success versus failure of a leader, Obviously, what is expected bare minimum from a leader is success and nothing less than success. My question is slightly opposite.
Yeah.
Have you faced any failure on the way? And if you have faced a failure, it may not be entirely your fault, but probably it happened because of the situation, because of the other people. But now, looking back at that failure, do you think that something could have been done differently?
You answer, there is no straight answer to your question, really. But if you ask this question, did you ever face a failure? In leaders, expectation from or the outcome or the expectation from a leader is always success. True, that's a broader statement. That yes, a leader has to be always successful, but it doesn't happen that way in reality. It's life is a mixture of it's never black and white. It's a gray thing. It's a mixture of black and white. So there are failures and there will be successes. Now whether a leader is called an effective leader or an ineffective leader, it depends on the mixture which is greater than the other. If his failures are greater than the successes, then he becomes a failed leader. If his successes are more than the failures, then he becomes a successful leader. So there are failures and there are successes. But how do you took that failure in the stride is critical, and what you learn from those failures is critical, and how you improve yourself based on those failures is critical. Unless your mind is set for that introspection and change, as I said, leader shift, where you shift those gears, that I think is critical, and that's how you change yourself to be a more effective leader, so that your failures start going down and successes start going up.
So when you speak or think of a leader, there is always leader versus follower. There are people who are leader and there are people who are termed as followers. And in spiritual language, religious language also, there is always a leader and there are pack of followers. Now in your career, which I have observed very closely, you have had multiple changes in your roles, profile, responsibility. You have moved from one place to another, including the locational changes also. So obviously when you move from one responsibility or one role to another, there is obvious change, which is going to be the change of followers.
Yes.
Was it difficult to adjust with new set of followers, the new set of people who were looking up to you as a leader? What were the challenges?
Yes, that's a very good question. You see, as a leader, if you are looking at a bigger picture of the things, when I call as a leader, everybody inborn is a leader in his own right and might. Right? Any human being, or I would say in a male chauvinistic family like India, which is slowly changing now, which is a good thing, every householder is a leader in his own home. Right? He manages his house and he is a leader in his own right and might as far as his home is concerned. So if I put the same context at an industry level, right? So you become a leader of a group, then leader of a specific business, then leader of the country, leader of, the leadership levels move. And of course, your followers change. Right? Your followers change. Maybe earlier there were 10 followers who were following you, then it becomes 20, then 100, and 200, then thousands. So the quantum changes, and you need to be very careful. As I said, it's an appropriate question, because when I had 10 people who were following me, as an example, I was able to know each and everybody one on one. I knew their pluses, I knew their minuses, I knew their strengths, their blind spots, if you want to call it. I knew all of them in depth. But as I moved to a different level, again another leadership level, maybe the accessibility that I had to the people started diminishing.
Just because of the numbers?
Just because of the sheer amount of people and the amount of the load or the amount of work that you have. So what it made me do is that to devise my own mechanisms. If I believe that my strength is people, if I'm good at people management and understanding people, sizing of people, if you want to call, if I'm good at it, I cannot let go of that strength that I have. But how can I still hone that? So you have to prepare or create devices so that you harp on those strengths that you had, still knowing what you can as you start moving up. Because you will not have that one-to-one contact the level you used to have when you were a smaller leader. It's just like you were a leader of a municipal corporation, then you become chief minister, then you become a prime minister. The sheer numbers change, but you still have to devise your own mechanisms to have that pulse of the people.
Right.
So, yeah, I did those.
Okay. Now, when it comes to leadership, one of the things that leaders have to do on daily basis without fail, and it goes without saying that they face challenges every day in, day out. So, talking about the challenges, according to you, which one is more difficult? External circumstances, let's say the things related to customers, vendors, suppliers, government compliances, those kind of stuff which are completely outside the box of, let's say, your enterprise, or the internal situations.
What you face outside is how you are seen outside as a leader of any organization you take. It is a reflection of how you have your own organization internally. If the internal organization is non-supportive, you are not able to manage the strings within your organization, the confidence speaks or the confidence shows on you. If that is fragile, then all the external problems become much more severe than what they appear to be.
Okay.
So the biggest thing is you need to have your house in order. You need to have the people within your organization towing the line which you have set them for, or they agree to what principles you are saying, or the vision that you are showing. They are in an alignment. So if you have that alignment and the support of the people internally, then the way you see the external world, the way you face the external world, the challenges that you speak about will be much more impactful and will be much more successful in that. Because you know the whole organization and the whole team is backing you. But if that is fragile, the commitments or the way you speak in front of outside world will be much more, it will be on a tenterhook, because you will not be that confident. Will I be or will I not be? So when you are in a situation where you are a will I be, will I not be, then your confidence doesn't speak for itself. So internal alignment, internal, whatever challenges you could face, that should be bare minimum. There will be challenges internally. When you are dealing with a bigger organization, there are multiple, just as a leader, there are multiple leaders. The way you collaborate with all those people, if that collaboration is strongest, and then the way you appear to a customer or to the outside world, whether it is government agencies or whether it is a customer, it will be much more different, because the confidence that you get that I will be able to do it, the commitment that you give will be very different. And when you walk that talk, that reflects on your leadership as well as your organization.
Okay.
A lot depends on how you implement what you have understood to a situation. So I would say, as a leader, the biggest thing, the biggest attribute that a leader should have is a situational fluency, situational adaptability, and the situational decision-making capacity. So when you're in that 0.5% is what I'm talking about, is something I still need to change. That has not changed. From when you've seen me to what I'm today, even that has not changed. Still, it is coming there, but I'm not saying I want to completely change as a human being. That will be the biggest. At certain times, you also have to take those decisions, because you can't have a thorn in your foot all along and still live with it limping. You have to take the decision to pull it out.
Right.
Yes, you will have blood flowing out, you will have pain at that moment in time, but it gives you the capacity to walk 10 miles further in a faster space.